Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to share is one of the most frequently encountered opening setups in your chess games, the 4 knights variation. In today's video, I'll introduce a highly intriguing and enjoyable gambit you can employ as white within this very opening. Get ready for a host of astonishing tricks and traps. But wait, there's more. I've got an intriguing chess puzzle waiting for all of you. Be sure to stick around until the end to enjoy the complete experience. At first glance, this position may appear mundane and symmetrical, but chess isn't meant to be dull. So, let's inject some excitement with the audacious move, knight takes on e5. Welcome to the Halloween Gambit. I understand your apprehension about seemingly giving away your knight for nothing, but believe me, this is a fantastic opening choice, especially in faster time controls. The data backs it up, just take a look. After playing knight takes on e5, white actually boasts the highest win percentage, surpassing common moves like bishop c4, or even d3 by a significant margin. Alright, so what happens after black captures your knight? As I mentioned, we'll capitalize on gaining tempo by attacking their knights, starting with the move d4. Now, black faces two primary options, knight to c6 or knight to g6. It's worth noting that going to g4 doesn't make sense because after e5, it results in a double attack, and black loses one of their knights. In this position, black's priority is to hold onto their material advantage, prompting them to retreat to either of these two squares. First, let's consider knight c6. We initiate with d5, targeting the knight. Black now has a few options to maneuver. Knight e7 isn't an optimal choice because as we continue with subsequent pawn moves, we consistently pressure the knight. Ultimately, after the queen e2 check, black finds themselves in a position where they must sacrifice either the bishop or the knight. Therefore, knight e7 doesn't effectively work for black. As a result, black is left with these two options. Let's analyze the most frequent move, which is knight to e5. This time, we respond with the f-pawn, attacking the knight. The best black can do here is knight g6, attempting to defend. We cleverly apply pressure on the other knight, showcasing how shrewdly we are forcing black to retreat and securing considerable space in the center. The essence of the Halloween Gambit lies in the power of the pawns, so always keep that in mind. Regrettably for black, they are forced to underdevelop their knight in this scenario. Even if they attempt to pin with the queen, we can reciprocate, and ultimately, black will have no choice but to retreat the knight. So, after e5, most players would opt to pull their piece back right away. Now that we've advanced significantly, it's time to firmly seize the opportunity by pushing further. Takes observe how this pawn completely constricts black, rendering them helpless. If black attempts a standard development move like knight f6, we deliver a check and black loses material. Therefore, black must exercise caution against this check, prompting them to create space for their king. Consequently, the two most commonly seen responses manifest. If black ups for queen b6, we can advance our knight closer, setting our sights on the potential c7 fork. Additionally, we fortify another defender for this pawn. Keep in mind that the knight b5 move, eyeing the c7 fork, is a recurring theme in many variations. Next, black's primary objective is to prevent the impending fork, making king to d8 the most logical response. We persist in our attack by advancing our pawns. Notably, if black chooses h4, the knight is in jeopardy. The widely seen response here is knight e5. Once again, we emphasize the importance of developing with tempo, not affording black the luxury of contemplating an attack. Black will likely attempt to defend with f6, but we can swiftly move our queen while maintaining a connection to this pawn, all the while preparing for castling. If black tries a move like a6 in an effort to push back the knight and grab the pawn, we have the option to activate the bishop to attack the queen. Subsequently, after the queen moves, black finds themselves in a precarious situation because of a powerful sequence, queen a5 check, followed by knight c7 check, resulting in the loss of the rook. Although sacrificing the pawn, this positions white advantageously. We can proceed to bring out the knight, castle on the queen side, and keep black struggling with a vulnerable king and pieces confined to the back rank. The game unfolds favorably for white. Let's consider the scenario where black goes for queen f6, applying pressure on both pawns. Directly playing knight b5 here can be a bit risky due to a potential variation, where if black finds the brilliant move knight f4, trouble might arise. Even though you manage to capture the rook, your king becomes exposed, and black can exploit the situation with their queen and knight, along with possible involvement of their bishops. It could be uncomfortable to deal with. Given this, when the queen moves to f6, I recommend initiating with a check. Once black blocks the check, you can then proceed with your plan of knight b5. Even if black ups for a queen exchange, you still maintain a double attack, forcing their king to move. Following this, you can target the vulnerable pawn with bishop e3. If black tries b6, you can castle on the king side, assert control over the file with your rook, and continue advancing your pawns. Additionally, you have the advantage of the potent pawn that consistently exerts pressure on black. In an alternate scenario where black plays a6 instead of moving the pawn, attempting to displace the knight and capture the pawn, you can utterly dismantle black's position with a relentless series of checks. Eventually, you'll pick up the rook and systematically gather the pawns, putting you in an advantageous winning position. Achieving victory in such a manner is indeed a satisfying accomplishment. Speaking of satisfaction, one thing that truly brings joy is your support. So please, everyone, hit that like button below this video right now. Okay, now, let's backtrack a bit. After the move d5, we've thoroughly examined the options when black plays knight e5. But what if black ups to retreat to b8? The game plan remains consistent: relentlessly pursue the knight, driving it backward. Keep advancing, engaging in pawn exchanges, and ensnare black with this powerful pawn. In black's attempt to create space for their king, the move knight b5 remains pivotal. If black makes a move like knight a6 from this point, that's an unfavorable square for the knight. You can smoothly develop your bishop, followed by the advancement of the other bishop, creating an increasingly uncomfortable situation for black. Black finds themselves restricted and unable to maneuver their pieces effectively. Conversely, you have the option to simply castle and unleash an assault with your entire army. The engine analysis suggests that white holds an almost 5-point advantage in this position, showcasing the potency of the Halloween Gambit. But how can you counter the Halloween Gambit when playing as black? I'll guide you through the most effective strategies for black in this scenario. Alright, let's revisit the sequence: e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, which leads us to the 4 knights opening. In the Halloween Gambit, we kick things off by sacrificing the knight and then launching an attack with d4. Previously, we covered the main lines where the black knight moves to c6. Now, let's explore some strategies when the knight heads to g6. We commence with e5, pressuring the knight. The knight can't move here due to our knight, and our queen covers these squares, leaving retreating as the only viable option. At this point, the engine suggests developing with bishop c4. However, a move I personally favor is queen to f3, a move that can genuinely catch your opponent off guard. The most prevalent response you'll encounter is d6, and from here, you can bring out the bishop, applying pressure on the f7 square. If black tries to defend with the queen, you can play normally and gradually build pressure using all your pieces. In this position, instead of the queen, it's common to see people playing bishop e6, offering an exchange. However, you have a clever line here. Begin by capturing this pawn, and if black takes your bishop, no worries. Execute this sneaky queen check, ultimately winning the bishop as well. Moreover, if black gets greedy and captures these pawns, they are in trouble. Queen e4 pins the knight, and black is in a precarious situation. Even if black attempts to defend, f4 comes into play, and the knight will eventually be eliminated. So, after playing queen f3, we've covered d6 as the most popular response. Another common move by black is to develop the bishop and pin the knight. In this case, you can proceed with bishop c4 as usual, targeting f7. Queen e7 is the typical response from most players. At this point, you can castle. When black exchanges the bishop for the knight, observe the resulting pawn structure. All our pieces are poised to make impactful moves, asserting control over the central squares. It becomes quite challenging for black to navigate this position. Looking at all these variations, it's evident that countering this formidable opening as black is no easy feat. Following d4, the knight can retreat in both directions. However, I strongly recommend heading back to g6 because going to c6 gives white precisely what they desire. Take note of the number of tempos white gains: 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 consecutive tempos on the black knights, enabling white to construct an incredibly robust center. So, the advice is clear: avoid heading in this direction. Instead, let's opt for g6. Now, there's only one knight that white can go after. Although we have to retreat once, it doesn't pose a significant issue. Let's consider the scenario where white plays queen f3. This is a critical moment where you need to retaliate and thwart white's initiative. I'll share a simple tip that will prove effective in countering many opening sacrifices of this nature. When you find yourself significantly ahead in material and your opponent is gaining a lot of activity, the best approach is to give back some material to diminish their initiative. While it's tempting to hold on to that extra knight, sometimes you have to sacrifice material in return. So, the move I recommend here is d5. Allow white to capture this pawn. Capturing en passant is not advantageous for white, as it allows you to bring your bishops into play, which is not what they desire. After d5, white will likely capture with the queen. You can then opt for an exchange, giving yourself some breathing room. Since knight c7 is the main threat, you move the king, and the game continues. Despite white having two central pawns, you still have the advantage of extra material. The game is now about playing it strategically from this point onward, maintaining a balanced position. In this position, if instead of the queen, white brings out the bishop, the strategy remains the same: play d5. White is forced to waste a move by capturing the pawn. You gain a tempo by attacking the bishop, and when it retreats, you can proceed to develop and neutralize the attack on f7. Additionally, you seize control of the d5 square, setting the stage for further advantageous development. This strategy positions you well as black, allowing for flexible castling options and minimizing immediate threats. It's an easily recallable approach to combat the Halloween Gambit. Now, it's time for a puzzle. In the given position, it's white's turn, and you need to find the best move for white. Share your answers in the comments, and let's see how many of you can solve it correctly. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with future videos. Take a moment to check out the other videos appearing on your screen right now. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care and peace.